welcome to this week's Supernaturally Healthy Live. And this week, as it is the last Supernaturally Healthy Live of the year, I am going to be doing a cooking demo here in my kitchen. So this is the first time I've done a cooking demo here in my kitchen. So I'm hoping this will all work well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can make some healthy marshmallows. Because I don't know about you, but this time of year, it's all about the hot chocolate with the marshmallows floating around in it. So that is what I'm going to show you. I'm going to go through my healthy and healing marshmallow recipe. I'm going to show you how to do it. Hoping all goes well. Got everything set up here. And obviously answer any questions that you have along the way. But if we don't know each other, hello, I'm Kezia Hall. I'm a holistic health coach. I run Supernaturally Healthy. And I help people to use food as medicine so that they can sort out their digestion, their gut health, their hormones, burn fat, and really live in complete food freedom. And I came to this whole journey of making healthy marshmallows in my kitchen and running this business and website really through my own health journey and health issues that I have had over the years, from being sad, sick, and stuck on the toilet for a good 7 or 8 years of my life. From things to sorting out my hormonal issues, depression, all that kind of thing, I came to realize that what I eat can actually really help me to feel the way I want to feel. So if you are joining me live, do let me know that you can see and hear me in the comments section. Maybe put your favorite emoji, maybe just say hi, just so I know. I've not quite used this platform before, so I just want to make sure that everything is working and that you can see and hear me all okay before I carry on and start making this awesome recipe. So in terms of you being able to see what's happening, I'm going to be moving you around, moving the screen around the kitchen as we move and make these marshmallows. They're pretty simple to make. I only started making them a couple of years ago. I love marshmallows, but I thought they were like really complicated, or just, you know, one of these things that you just have to deal with the fact that they are incredibly sugary. But it actually turns out with this special ingredient, they can be really healing and awesome. But I'll tell you a little bit more about that to begin with. So what I'll do is I'll share the recipe here, but the recipe is also up on my blog as well. So I'll link to that. Oh, hi, Danny. Hello. Danny, I'm assuming you can see and hear me all right, because I know I'm a bit further away from the thing. So I just want to check everyone can hear everything okay. So the recipe that I'm going to go through is on my blog. If you just Google search Kezia Hall marshmallows, it will pop up, but I'll also edit the post above and put it into here as well. So the first thing that you want to do is you need to get some gelatin. This is a really important part of the marshmallow making. If you do not have gelatin, then you cannot make marshmallows. So the only gelatin I use is Great Lakes gelatin, because that can be really, it's from high quality cows. And gelatin, as part of a generally healthy diet, can be a really helpful part of a gut healing protocol. So if you have digestive issues, IBS, anything like that, then including some good quality gelatin into your daily diet, it can be really helpful. It's also really useful for things like having better skin and hair and nails. It's a really great kind of beauty secret, gelatin, in terms of if you maybe have dry skin, your hair's really dry, whatever it is, it can be really helpful. So the first thing you want to do is, I'll tilt this down a little bit more, I'll change the screen, is you want to get a bowl and put 3 tablespoons of gelatin. So that's what I've just done into here. Then I've got 250 mils of water, and this is cold water. So what you want to do is you just want to add this to the gelatin. Don't freak out too much. The gelatin's going to go hard. Give it a little bit of a mix in here. This doesn't have to be perfect at this stage. You just want to give it a bit of a mix and then basically set it to one side. So that is that part of it. So that is part 1. You want to get 3 tablespoons of gelatin, put it with 250 mils of water, and then give it a mix. That's all you want to do. Then the next part that we have is behind me. So you want then in a pan, you want to heat up another 250 mils of water and bring it to a simmering point. So this is what I prepared earlier. So I'm just going to bring the heat up onto this. And what you want to do is you want your 250 mils of water that comes to the simmer, and then you want to add a good amount of honey. Now, so you do need some sort of sweetener in marshmallows. You can't get away with having them completely, sweetness free. You might be able to try making them with stevia. I've never tried that, but it might work. I've only ever made marshmallows with honey, and it's really good if you can use good quality honey for this, because it'll just make the taste so much better. So you want to put in about 6 tablespoons of honey. So I think this is number 5, number 6. So in this pan, I'll bring the pan over actually. So in the pan, all that I have is, I've got this little thermometer here, which I'll tell you about in a second. I've got 250 mils of water that's heating up, and I've just added about 6 tablespoons of raw honey, giving it a little bit of a mix. Then what I'm going to do is just wait for it to come to simmer and keep an eye on the temperature. So with this, what we're doing is heating up the sugar, and that will really, and heating up the water to then combine it with the gelatin that we have prepared here. And then basically all we're going to do is whisk it together. That's literally it. It's really, really simple. This marshmallow recipe can involve as little as 4 ingredients. You can pimp it up and make them colourful and add flavours and all that kind of thing. But on a basic level, it involves 4 different ingredients. That is it. So what we need to do now is we need to wait for this to heat up. And when it comes to a simmer, either you can use a thermometer like I have here and wait until it gets to 110 degrees Celsius, or you can bring the honey and the water to a simmering point and then keep it there for about 7 minutes. So you want to keep it on a timer for roughly, once it's come to a simmer, you then set a timer and hold it for those 7 minutes. So I'm going to keep an eye on this, keep an eye on the temperature, and then just let it come to a simmering point. Then what we're going to do next is, once that has come to a simmer, once we have, that's at the right temperature, and as you can see here, in this gelatin, those 3 tablespoons of gelatin that we've mixed with water, you can see that it's become pretty solid. It's just like one big gloopy thing. That's totally fine. That's what's meant to happen. So while I wait for that to come to the simmer, I'll just put this down in here. I think we are nearly there. What I'm going to do is set a timer as well for 7 minutes. So I tend to go by my thermometer, but I know lots of you probably don't have like sugar thermometers in the house. So if you don't have a sugar thermometer, then what you can do is you can, as I said, bring it to a simmering point and then put on a timer for 7 minutes, and then voila, it should be done. And then it's just a case of combining the 2 together, whisking them, pouring it in and letting it set. That is it, literally it. Honestly, I had no idea marshmallows was so simple to make. For years, I absolutely loved marshmallows when I was a total sugar addict. And then when I started to realise that they're mainly filled with sugar, I was like, oh no, that's so sad, I love marshmallows. I used to play a game of, what is it called, Fluffy Bunnies? You know, it's how many marshmallows you can stuff in your mouth and still say Fluffy Bunnies. I used to play that quite a lot with a lot of marshmallows. Or things like s'mores. Is it s'mores? Yes. Where you layer like the biscuit and the thing, or putting it into Rocky Road. So in my can't even say it. In my Sweet Treat collection ebook, I have a recipe for Rocky Road. In that, and you need marshmallows in Rocky Road. It's like a definite must when it comes to that. And what are the recipes you need them in? Oh, and just generally hot chocolate. So I'm a huge, huge marshmallow fan. So the question that lots of people ask me is, where do you get gelatin from? So obviously you can buy normal gelatin from the shop, just in the baking aisle. I buy, and I'm pretty sure these marshmallows would work with that standard gelatin. I use this one by Great Lakes just because it's much better quality and less processed than the standard gelatins you would find. And that means this has more nutrients in it. It's a really good source of protein. It's a really good source of loads of your different amino acids. What's it got on the side here? Oh, it's things like your glycine and alanine and proline and all of these. It's got tons of amino acids in there. So obviously this is an animal-based product. So if you don't eat animals, then you can't have this. And I've never made these marshmallows with a vegetarian gelatin. So I don't know if they would work the same. I assume they would. If you can find a vegan or a vegetarian gelatin that is a direct substitute for normal gelatin, it should work fine. But I buy this from Amazon. If you ever come across a recipe on my website, which is supernaturallyhealthy.co.uk/recipes, tons of recipes on there, they're all for free. If you ever come across a recipe that you feel like has an ingredient that's like a little bit weird, chances are I bought it from Amazon. So if you're like, Kezia, where did you buy gelatin? Where did you buy your collagen from? Where did you buy your vanilla powder from? Where did you buy chances are I bought it from Amazon, because it's just way easier to buy things from Amazon. You can do it in one click and boom, everything is done and sorted. So buy this from Amazon. I think the other online stores sell it. I'm not aware of any shops, because it's imported from America. I'm not aware of any shops in the UK that actually sell this. So I'm not 100% sure. So get it from Amazon. And you can use it for loads of other things as well, which is really helpful. So I'm just going to check in on this, give it a little stir. So we're currently at about 95 degrees Celsius. We've got about another 10 degrees to go. What did I say? To 110. No, another 15 degrees to go. And then that should be ready. And what I'm going to do is, I'll show you the whipping process. But what we're going to do next is, once that has become ready to go, and what we'll do is we'll bring in my handy food processor. And you don't need a food processor for this, you can use a hand whisk. But what you then do is you basically whisk this gelatin mixture with the hot honey mixture for about 15 to 20 minutes. So instead of you just watching my food processor whisk for 15 to 20 minutes, what I'll do is I'll show you how that starts off, and then I'll put in some pictures below of what to look out for and what to look for. Just so you're not having to sit there and watch this make loads of noise for 15 minutes. But as you say, you can use a food processor. When it comes to food processors, I know they can be really expensive. I use a Magimix, which is probably a more pricier, on the pricier end of food processors, but it really does make life so much easier. So for this Christmas, or like this Christmas Eve, I'm making a big beef rendang curry, which means calls for me chopping something like 10 onions. I just need to peel onions, and then my food processor will chop them in about 2 minutes. It's so much, when I'm making sauerkraut, so much easier. So if you do find that you are in the kitchen a lot and you are cooking for a lot, or maybe you have lots of people that you are feeding, then a food processor is a really, really great thing to invest in. I invested in it a while ago, and if you get a good make bill, like I broke my lid recently, it was easy to replace. It wasn't really that difficult. So it really makes the world of difference if you can have some awesome kitchen appliances. The other thing I would suggest is a slow cooker. That's my dinner in a slow cooker there. And then a high quality blender, which you can see in the background. And 2 holes that are currently waiting for light. And a shelf on the side. So really, if you have any Christmas money, or you still don't know what you're getting for Christmas, and you are struggling with crap knives, or no blender, or no food processor, highly recommend you get at least one good expensive knife, and you either invest in a blender, like I have in the background, or in a food processor. It just makes life so much easier. It really, really does. And the amazing thing about, I've had a couple of people ask me before with this, they say, because this bottle in itself isn't the cheapest, this gelatin, it's about £20 for this whole thing. So it's not huge, but you don't use loads of it at a time. So a lot of people will ask, well, why bother to use it? But this stuff can be really, really helpful because of its really rich in its amino acids content. It can be really helpful for supporting your joints. So for me, I have carpal tunnel in my wrist, which has recently gotten really, really bad, which I wonder is why I'm craving these marshmallows, is because my body is needing some really good amino acids. And amino acids are basically what happens when you break down your proteins. Okay, we're nearly there with the syrup. So basically, amino acids are what happens when you break down protein. So protein, like meat or fish or eggs that you eat, get into the body, get digested into these molecules, which are amino acids. And those get utilized by your liver, by your joints, by your immune system. They're really, really important things to have. You really need to make sure you are not only eating enough protein, but that they're also able to digest the protein. I always talk to my clients and community about, you're not what you eat, you are what you digest. There is no point, you could be eating the healthiest diet on the planet, but if you're not digesting it, then all those healthy foods, quote unquote healthy foods, could actually be causing you more harm than good because you're not digesting them. So making sure you're getting enough amino acids, meaning you're eating the protein, but also got a good enough digestion to break down the protein so that those amino acids can go to your liver to support your liver and its detoxification. They can go to your skin, so you can have lovely, fresh, whatever, youthful skin. They can go to your hair to build strong, healthy hair. I know my hair is a bit of a frostastic experiment right now, but it can be really, really helpful, and also to your joints. So if you have any joint issues, things like arthritis, or even like, or any skin issues, anything like that, pregnant or looking to increase your fertility, these are all great things for this gut health. This can really help. Having things like gelatin and collagen can really help to restore your gut lining. So, I think we are nearly there with this syrup stuff. We've got just a couple more degrees to go, and then we're going to put it in. So what we want to do next is, I'll tilt this down again. In your either food processor, or you can do this with a hand whisk in a bowl, but it's much easier using a food processor. You want to make sure you have your whisk attachment, which I have here. Then what you want to do is you want to pour in, so this is here is our gelatin mixture that we did at the start. So this is 3 tablespoons of gelatin mixed with 250 mils of water. That is literally all this is, and over time it's just been allowed to go hard. So what you want to do is just scrape this gelatin mixture in to this. I mean, scraping things is potentially the worst sound in the world. But anyway, so you want to put that in here, get it ready, and then what we're going to do is we are slowly going to pour in the honey mixture from behind us into this. And we're going to do this really, really slowly, and then we're basically going to allow us to whisk for the next 15 to 20 minutes. So this is going to get a little bit noisy. So before it does, make sure you have a dish that you can pour your marshmallows into. You want it to be a grease dish, so I normally just get a little bit of coconut oil and rub it round. And then also with this is, I'm making really basic marshmallows, but you can add maybe some, my original recipe adds in a little bit of beetroot juice, so you can make them pink, because I mean, it's fun to have pink. In fact, I think I have beetroot juice here. Do I have beetroot juice? Oh yes, I do. So what you can do is, say these cooked beetroots, you can get a little bit of the juice, just like half a teaspoon in, and add it at the very end to add that little kind of gentle pink flavour. You can add peppermint flavour, you can even add some chocolate chips, you can add a bit of food colouring if you're, not bothered. I don't tend to use food colouring because I don't like the colourants and additives in there. So, let's have a look at this. We are looking good. I think I'll just give that another second. And then also, sorry, you can't see me. Also with this recipe, you can add in some probiotics. So how you do that is, you would get a probiotic that has a capsule that you can twist and take apart. So these more gelatin-based capsules, you can often twist them, pull them apart, and pour them in. So I've got that here. I may as well make them probiotic marshmallows. Why not? Why the chuff not? Or if you have a probiotic powder, because it's really great to just get some good bacteria in as much as you can. Traditionally, I think we used to eat a lot more fermented things, and so throughout the day we were getting a lot more kind of probiotics and good bacteria, and we're not so much anymore. So wherever you can fit it in, get some good bacteria in the mix. Okay, so got us over here. So this is just the sugar, sorry, not sugar, honey. Well, it is a form of sugar. The honey and the I have to do it with the other hand. Honey and water mixture that's been simmering to come to about 110-ish. Doesn't have to be exact degrees. In here we've got the gelatin and water mixture. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this to this. So I'm going to turn this on and let it whisk. Slowly add it in. So you can see it's starting to change. And I'm just doing a little steady, well, I'm trying to keep it steady, a little stream as time goes by. We're nearly there. So as you can see, in here, all we've done is add the honey mixture and added it to the gelatin. So if you were here live, you probably smell a little bit of gelatin going on, but don't worry, that disappears. If you are wanting to add probiotics, you can do that now. So you just take your capsule like this and then empty it. And then all that you need to do is you need to make sure that you leave this for about 15 to 20 minutes. So once you have whisked it for a long period of time, I'll just turn this off actually. What you do is you whisk this up for about 15 to 20 minutes until it gets really fluffy and peaks start to form. Not exactly like a meringue, but a little bit like a meringue. So it might be a bit longer if your whisk isn't very good. Again, you don't need to use a food processor for this. You can use a hand whisk, but it does mean you have to stand there for 15 to 20 minutes. So that's why I prefer this. And then when you feel like it's really fluffy, when it's gotten really, really, really fluffy, all you do then is pour it into a dish that you've greased and then put it in the fridge. That's all you do. If you want to flavour it with, say, peppermint or cocoa or add some colour to it, just add that just before the end, just before you're about to pour it out, mix it in, pour it into this, and then shove it in the fridge for about an hour to 2 hours, and then it should set. And then once it's set, you can just cut into it, into whatever shapes and sizes that you want. I just tend to do squares because that's the best way. And that can be really simple. And then they will keep probably for about 3 or 4 days. And I normally tend to keep them in the fridge, but I don't think you need to actually. And you can then dust them if you want to. If you're not bothered about the sugar, you can dust them in icing sugar, but I don't like to do that because of the sugar. But you can dust them maybe in a little bit of arrowroot powder, like a really little bit, or in some desiccated coconut to make sure they don't stick, or just to make them look a little bit fancier. But there you have it. That is a simple and healthy marshmallow recipe. So as I say, once this is going, I'm going to put it back on again because it's not working with this. You need to keep it whisking for about 15, 20, maybe 25 minutes, depending on how good your whisk is, depending on a whole bunch of different things. But you want it to get to be really, really fluffy. So as you can see here, it's already changing colour a little bit, but it's all, as you can see, it's still quite liquidy, so you want to wait until it's really, really fluffy and light and airy. So I'm going to leave this going for the next 15 to 20 minutes, and then I'll put a picture below. If you have any questions about this recipe, let me know. And if you want more festive recipes, click the link above for my Eat and Be Merry ebook. Thanks for joining me, and Merry Christmas, everyone! Have a very Merry Christmas! Bye!